Hello everyone and welcome to today's video. Now today we are going to be talking about the week 13 matches for the Overwatch League of the Summer Showdown. Obviously they completed it, and we got some some pretty interesting matches results. But let's have a look at them. So obviously there are three of them, or three links that I have to show. This one, and this one. I'll talk about that one later. But let's first start off the matches here. So week 13 matches for the West first. Atlanta versus London. It went 3-0 to Atlanta. And then Boston versus Houston. They went to 3-0 Boston. For Shanghai, well, for the for 13, which was held in Shanghai, Hangzhou versus New York. They went 3-2 Hangzhou. Chengdu versus Philly, 3-2 Chengdu. And Shanghai versus Valiant, 3-0. On July 9th in the West, we got Washington versus London, 3-0. Gladiators versus Toronto, 3-0. And Dallas versus Houston, 3-0. Now that was co-hosted by the Dallas View, so the Dallas played in the arena, while Houston played remotely. So that was just for the Battle of Texas. And for the East region, NYXL versus Philly, 3-1 NYXL. Valiant versus Chengdu, 3-0 Chengdu. And Hangzhou versus Shanghai, 3-1 Shanghai. And then for the West, Atlanta versus Boston, 3-0 Atlanta. Toronto versus Dallas, 3-1 Dallas. And Washington versus Gladiators, 3-2 Washington. So those are the results. So a lot of stuff happened, mainly in the 3-2 section of matches, especially the Chengdu and Philly. Now I did watch it with two of my friends, and it went back and forth. Well, not really back and forth. It was an actual reverse sweep. Obviously, because it was already late enough, because the Hangzhou and New York match that went 3-2, that went all the way. This one, legit the same thing happened. Cause I thought my friends were and I thought, okay, well Philly possibly gonna be like a 3-1, like a 3-1 match, but Philly's definitely gonna take it. Nope, it went all the way, and it was a reverse sweep for the Chengdu Hunters because they didn't even know how to counter a Farah. Fantastic, thank you Philadelphia. They tried everything they could, and they were not even ready for Chengdu to use the Farah, even though they've been using it for most of the time, which annoys me even more. So I don't know how Philly is just that stupid that they can't even they can't even counter a Farah, but whatever. It's just how they are. So Philly definitely choked that. And they also choked again against the NYXL. So basically, I guess Philadelphia are the new chokers, I guess you can say. Are they like the new chokers? Like NYXL was known as the chokers in season 1 and 2. Is Philly now the chokers? Maybe. I don't really know. I guess we'll talk about the West region as well. So I already kind of talked about Philly kind of the chokers, and Chengdu they just love using fire and everything. Also Hangzhou actually did not that bad, but definitely struggled, especially against the Shanghai Dragons. For the West, obviously I didn't watch any of them because it's like 5 a.m. here, so I couldn't watch any of them. But as what I can see, I think I was told. Okay, well I guess I'll bring this up. So Atlanta versus London. Obviously, I'll picture this for you. I can't believe this. I can't believe this actually happened. But so Atlanta. So this was in Kingsborough, and Atlanta basically thrashed the Spitfire, and oh god, and Atlanta, stayed up the point, just BMing them, which makes sense because they're that shit. And they got onto the point, capping and everything. And then Master typed, "It's not coming home," referring to London and being in the UK and the whole "it's coming home" thing, which obviously didn't work out today in the Euro Cup because I think it didn't Italy won. I don't know, I don't watch it, but I think Italy won. But that sparked a little bit of a controversy for Twitter, and Twitter is the most toxic place, so you kind of already know how that ended up, everyone basically saying that it was very disrespectful and and like I'm not being an Atlanta fan anymore. All this other shit. It was dumb. I think it was great for them to do that because it's just it's a lot of BM for that. I just think it kind of makes sense because I think like the one player who might get affected by it is Hybrid, who is part of the London Spitfire. I guess also maybe Kai, but Kai doesn't really care because he's in Atlanta. So, mm. but it was kind of funny just to see that. So a lot of BM there for Atlanta. London obviously still struggling. Toronto is still crap. Uh, Houston somehow kind of shut the bed. In this week against Boston first. I was expecting Boston to actually. I expected it to be a pretty competitive match, but apparently it was a 3-0. And Dallas versus Houston, it was pretty competitive. They did tie in Hanamura, but that's really about it. Uh, Washington versus Gladiators, that went all the way. Map 5. Dallas as well. 3-0 for Atlanta, and then all this other stuff. I think didn't they also put didn't Washington put Tuba in support in support role? I think in London or Gladiators. It was one of those ones. I know, yeah, because I saw a tweet that like Tuba was coming in. Was it for support? Or was it for DPS? I can't fucking remember. But it was there. So that's the week 13 matches. There. Let's now have a look at the standings. So let's first start off with the West. So for the top 6, Dallas, Atlanta, Boston, Washington, Paris, and Gladiators. Once again, the San Francisco Shock has not made it to Hawaii. Let me get that clear. The San Francisco Shock has not made it to Hawaii at all this season. This season at all. Has never. Houston kind of shut the bed. Toronto, yeah, shut the bed as well. Florida, London, Vancouver, we don't talk about them. They're pretty shit. For the East, Shanghai, Chengdu, Seoul, NYXL, that's what the top 4. Hangzhou, they definitely had a chance, but Shanghai was just too strong. Philly obviously choked. Guangzhou are just meh, and then Valiant, we don't talk about them because they're bad, because they're that bad. So those are the matches. I'm not going to show. Regional qualifiers did what did happen. I'm not going to show them until the summer showdown is all done. So those are basically so there's the top 6 and there's the top 4 for the East and West regions. Let's now have a look at the standings overall. And also there were no Overwatch League changes at all, so I will skip it over there. So let's first talk about the West region. So the Dallas Fuel still win the lead with 14 points, and the Shock and Outlaws in second and third with 9. Gladiators, Washington, Atlanta with 8. So that's 4th, 5th, and 6th. 7th, 8th is Paris and Toronto with both 6. And Boston and Florida both with 5. And then London and Vancouver both with 0. So not that surprising here. Currently, other than the Shock still not even being in the still not even being in the qualifiers. Well, still not being in Hawaii. There we go. That's what I'm going to say. Let's now have a look at the East. Shanghai with 15 points, so one better than Dallas. It just all depends here in the summer showdown of who's gonna win it, because that's like the big old rivalry now. Second, Seoul with 9. Philly, Chengdu, and Hangzhou all tied in third place with 7. NYXL with 5. Guangzhou was 3. And Valiant was 0. And a minus 34 map differential. So, I will send this to my friend. I would actually pay to see Valiant versus Vancouver. That will be an amazing match. But yeah. So I guess with the tournament still going on, I guess we'll talk about the Countdown Cup. So the Countdown Cup, I'll go through them here a bit. Dallas versus Paris, Houston versus Washington first in the West and the East, Hangzhou versus Seoul, NYXL versus Valiant, Philly versus Shanghai. So that's for the East. For the West, Boston versus Paris, Atlanta versus Gladiators, and Dallas versus Shock. And for the East, Seoul versus Valiant, Shanghai versus NYXL, and Hangzhou versus Philly. then for the West, Atlanta versus Houston, Shock versus Boston, and Gladiators versus Washington. This is also where we actually get to where the Hungry Spark actually gets to host um, the homestand again because Guangzhou said it was cancelled due to COVID concerns. So yeah, that's really about it. Um, the next video for Overwatch it will be the tournament results. So I'll be talking about the tournament and my prediction, not only my predictions, but just my thoughts on them. There we go. So yeah, that's it for me now. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Catch you guys on next time in the next one. Goodbye.